This is the first of a series of 3 videos to describe a theory of gravity. The first video will be to describe how, for example, the moon escaped from the Earth and how it got into orbit. It's to do with energy. I believe that gravity is an effect that's caused by a constant energy between 2 bodies that are not in contact, and in this case the Earth and the Moon. Now I want you to consider the Earth as a body in the center of this plastic ball, in the center of it, and that this ball represents an energy shell. Now, I'm not saying that there is such a shell in existence, but it's what we call a mathematical model. It's a way of describing a structure that doesn't necessarily physically exist, but it enables you to picture it and to derive equations that describe its behavior that will then explain the phenomenon that you're studying, in this case gravity. So I want you to imagine this energy shell surrounding the Earth, with the Earth in the center. Now the energy between the Earth and the Moon is constant. That means it cannot change, and has not changed since the Moon left the Earth. At the moment, the Moon is orbiting the Earth once every 27.3 days, which appears to us like 28 days because the Earth is turning also. So once every 27.3 days the Moon goes round the Earth in this almost circular orbit. But it must remain on the surface of the shell because nothing can change its energy. There are 2 kinds of energy. There's what is called potential energy, which is associated with the distance between the bodies in space. And there's kinetic energy, which represents the rate at which one of them is moving relative to the other. Now right now, with the Moon in this orbit, most of its energy is potential. It is moving quite slowly, at just over 2,000 miles per hour in orbit. But when it left the Earth, it had to have left much more rapidly, and I calculate that it left the Earth at about 24,900 miles per hour, and this would be 4.5 billion years ago. Now as to why the Moon left the Earth, that's been described by others as being probably due to the collision of an asteroid with the Earth, which essentially knocked the Moon out, and some of the matter from the asteroid and some of the matter from the Earth became a ball that is now the Moon. But it would have started on the Earth's surface, which is inside this shell on the model of the Earth that I showed you. Now the moment it left the Earth, it was still at the Earth's location, so there's no space, no significant space between the Earth and the Moon. But there was a lot of energy difference because the Moon was traveling at almost 25,000 miles an hour. So there's a large energy difference, and this energy difference is as is represented in this energy shell. So the Moon must have gone to the surface of the energy shell in the energy dimension, but not in space. In space it was in contact still with the Earth. So I'm going to place the Moon here when it was first ejected. It's actually in contact with the Earth, or at the Earth's surface, traveling at high velocity, which means its energy is quite different, or there's a large energy difference between the Earth and the Moon. This is called a relative relation. It's a relationship. So the Moon is here on the surface of this energy shell in terms of energy dimensions. And once it got there, it was moving in space and this caused it to travel around the energy shell, staying in contact with the energy shell so that it maintained its energy. But when it did move away from the Earth, some of that energy was automatically converted into potential energy, because the Earth could not continue away from the Moon could not continue away from the Earth indefinitely. Otherwise, it would have disappeared. And there's a law that says that when something is separated from something else, there is an energy between them, which is the potential energy. So initially, the Moon went round this energy shell. In space, it was going up and down. It went up to this height. This represents a height in space, as well as where the energy is entirely potential. There's no kinetic energy. And then it came back down again. And on a later video, I'll explain what happened next. But that's how the Earth ejected the Moon, and why the Moon stopped, because it had to stay on this spherical energy shell. So watch for the next video. Thank you.